Um, well, good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. Thank you for attending today's Zoom outreach presentation. Please hold your questions until the end of the program when we'll have a short question and answer session. My name is Debbie Brown, and I'm an investigator with the Hillsborough County Consumer Protection Services. I brought with me today investigator Loretta Hogue, who will also participate in our presentation. Our agency receives consumer complaints against businesses for unfair and deceptive trade practices. Hillsborough County consumers can file complaints with us, and consumers who don't live in Hillsborough County can file complaints as long as the business is located in Hillsborough County. Complaints are submitted at our website. Today's topic is cybercrime. So what is cybercrime? It's criminal activity or a crime that involves the internet, a computer system, or some type of computer technology. Internet fraud has become one of the fastest growing crime concerns facing the public. Nearly all crime that was once committed in person, by mail, or over the telephone can now be committed through the internet. Cybercrime has surpassed illegal drug trafficking as a criminal moneymaker. The Internet Crime Complaint Center, also known as the IC3, was established in May of 2000 as a center to receive complaints of internet crime. The FBI receives and analyzes each complaint, and they work with law enforcement for investigative and intelligence purposes. The IC3 receives, on average, over 1,200 complaints per day and over 340,000 complaints per year. The IC3 has received almost 5 million complaints since its inception. Just last year alone, victims who filed complaints with the IC3 claimed $3.5 billion in losses. It's no real surprise that senior citizens over the age of 60 account for the most victimized age category and sustain the greatest losses. Florida ranks second in the nation for the number of internet crime victims. Over 27,000 Floridians claim to be a victim of an internet scam. California ranked first, Texas third, and New York fourth. Florida also ranked second in the nation for victim losses. Just last year, Floridians lost almost $3 million. California again took first place, Ohio third, Texas fourth, and New York fifth. Senior citizens are targeted because perpetrators believe they have financial resources or nest eggs and are hoping to cash in on their life savings. If the perpetrators are successful after the initial contact, they often continue to target that very same victim over and over again. Many different scams fall under the category of an advance fee scam. Basically, this is when a victim pays before goods and services are received. Online dating scams are one of the most well-known advance fee scam examples. Recently, a woman received a friend request from someone claiming to be a deployed serviceman. He told her that he recently lost his wife to cancer, and it wasn't long before he began asking her for money. She ended up sending him $100,000 before becoming suspicious and contacting the authorities. She was informed that she was a victim of a romance scam and may never see her money again. These scammers create fake accounts and play on your emotions. Asking for money should be a big red flag. Romance scam victims in the United States and Canada have reported losing $1 billion over the last 3 years. Social media complaints and scams are on the rise, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and other types of chat rooms. Always remember, free is never free. People get lured into free trial offers for products you may like. Victims are asked to provide their credit card information and then are shocked when their free product ends up costing them $99.99, and they've unknowingly agreed to a monthly subscription with automatic payments. In the first 6 months of 2020, people reported losing a record high of $117 million to social media scams. The majority of tech support scam victims are over the age of 60. Victims will usually receive an email which looks like it's from Microsoft or Apple, and a technician says there's a virus on their computer and they need to gain access to fix it. Don't do it. It's a scam. Even our own agency's manager, his mom fell victim to this scam and lost hundreds of dollars to a scammer. Malware, scareware, and ransomware are all software that's intended to damage or disable computers and computer systems. Scammers will try to extort money from victims to gain access to their computers. Due to the recent COVID-19 pandemic, millions of Americans have lost their jobs. If they're not savvy, they can be victims of employment scams. When people submit job applications online, the information can be hacked, giving scammers all your personal information. For lots of us, the holiday season is a good time to pick up some part-time work. It's when retailers and delivery services need extra help, and especially during the pandemic, many of us could use the cash. So how can you spot and avoid a job scam, whether for a temporary or a permanent position? Number one, don't pay to get a job. Scammers may say they have a job waiting for you or guarantee you a position if only you pay them. Maybe for a certification, maybe for training materials or something else. No legitimate job will require that you pay out-of-pocket expenses or fees to get that job. Anyone who does this is a scammer. Second, never give your personal information up front. Some scammers will try to get your credit card information, your bank account information, or your social security number as soon as you're in touch with them, but that's a scam. Number three, do your research. Before you apply for a job listed on a social networking site or an online ad, search online for the name of the company plus the words review or complaint or scam. Read reviews by former employees. If the news is bad or there's very little information about the company, that's a red flag telling you to move on. Mystery shopper scams have been around for a long time. Victims believe they're hired to evaluate a store's quality of service. After they've completed the evaluations and submitted them for payment, they receive a cashier's check for more than the amount they agreed to. They're now asked to deposit the cashier's check and send back the overage. This is an example of an overpayment scam. The bank will ultimately notify the victim that the cashier's check is fraudulent, and now that victim is held responsible for the payment that was sent to the scammer. Internet auction fraud is a fraudulent transaction or exchange that occurs in the selling of an online auction site. In the setting, of an online auction site. Both the auction sellers and the auction buyers can be victims. Sellers might receive a fraudulent payment, like the fraudulent cashier's check I just mentioned, and buyers may not get the item that they purchased. We recently received a complaint that our agency referred to the IC3. A consumer claimed a seller on Facebook Marketplace listed an iPhone XR for $250. After negotiating the price, the seller agreed to sell it for $225. The consumer tried to issue payment through PayPal, but the seller claimed she was unable to receive the payment and suggested they send the money through Cash App. The payment was issued using Cash App, and the seller received the money. However, the buyer never received the iPhone XR, and the seller never returned the consumer's money. I'm going to admit someone who's asking to be admitted. Okay. Also, most investment scams fall into the category of a Ponzi or pyramid scheme. When there are no new investors, the scheme basically collapses. Infinity fraud is when church members are targeted. Before you make a bad investment decision, you should contact the Florida Office of Financial Regulation. Excuse me, some people are asking to be admitted. Phishing scams are another way criminals try to steal our personal information. A phishing scam is an email sent to millions of people that appears to be authentic because the logo of the business or government agency has been copied and pasted into the email. The intent is to steal your credit card, bank account information, or other personal information like your social security number. Please never respond to unsolicited emails. Holiday scammers are sending out bogus shipping notices. Victims may get an email or a text message that's supposedly from UPS or FedEx, complete with one of their logos, and it seems legitimate. It says that your item is ready to ship, but you need to update your shipping preferences. The message is bogus and there is no package. Scammers are phishing for your information. If you click a link or download the attachment, you're likely to end up with a virus or malware on your computer that may try to steal your identity and your passwords. Avoid this holiday scam by following these tips. The weakest link, don't click. If you get an unsuspected or unsolicited email or text message, don't click on any links or open any attachments. If you think it could be legitimate, contact the company directly using a website or a phone number that you know to be real. Don't use the information provided in the email or the text message. Also, malware. Guard against this. Make sure you keep your software up to date. Set your security software, internet browser, and operating systems to update automatically. We'll talk a little bit more about those types of precautions later in the program. And credit card fraud is just another form of identity theft. However, it's always best to use a credit card for any internet purchases because under federal law, even if somebody hacks your credit card and places charges on your credit card without your knowledge, under federal law, the victim can only be held for a maximum of $50. And oftentimes the victim will pay nothing. So a credit card is your absolute best source of paying when you're purchasing something online. So let's talk a little bit about online shopping. If you're spending some of your hard-earned money online, make sure you know where it's going. It's really easy for scammers to put up fake websites that look a lot like the real websites. A scam website may show up in your search results, or scammers may send you a phishing email that looks like it came from a company that you would trust, but it actually takes you to a ripoff site. They'll be happy to take your money and leave you with nothing. So instead of clicking on a link in an email, you need to research the store's actual website. Put that into your browser and only pay on sites that have an HTTPS in the browser when you go to make a payment. That means the transaction's encrypted. But scammers also know how to encrypt. So just because you see an HTTPS does not necessarily mean it's a legitimate location. Again, always pay by credit card if you're buying something online. It gives you more protections if something goes wrong. And if all of that wasn't scary enough, did you know that every transaction that we do in today's digital world and all of our information goes into databases? Let's see. I'm sorry, somebody is trying to enter again. Admit all. Okay. All right, so let me start this again. Did you know that every transaction in today's world is digital and all our information goes into databases? When you see the doctor or you go to the hospital, guess what? Your medical information is going into a database. Every purchase we make goes into a database. Your bank uses databases, and so does the federal government. The very first data breach that took place was in 2013 on Black Friday, when bargain shoppers had their credit cards and debit cards hacked at point of sale checkouts at local Target stores. Hackers stole over 110 million credit and debit card numbers in that very first attack. Not long ago, a breach that compromised the data of a few million people was big news. But now data breaches that affect hundreds of millions or even billions of people are far too common. Almost 3.5 billion people saw their personal data stolen in the top 2 breaches of this century. So what can we do to protect ourselves? The single most important thing you can do, we can do, every American citizen can do, is to freeze our credit files. A credit freeze prevents access to our credit reports, and it prevents identity thieves from opening new accounts in our name. That is oftentimes the most difficult type of identity theft to dig out of. Parents are now able under federal law to even freeze their children's credit files, and guardians can even, with valid power of attorneys, can even freeze the credit files of their dependents. To place a credit freeze on your credit file, you can call or you can go online to each of the 3 nationwide credit bureaus, which are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You must freeze with all 3 credit bureaus. They are required under federal law to place that freeze on your credit reports within 1 business day. And if you lift the freeze, you can do that by phone or online, and the credit bureaus must lift the freeze within 1 hour of receiving your request. You will need to supply your name, your address, your date of birth, and even your social security number, because remember, our credit files are under our social security number, so you will have to provide that, and possibly other personal information. The credit bureaus will send you a confirmation letter notifying you that your credit files have been frozen, and they will also provide you either a PIN or a password. You need to keep the PIN or password in a safe place because you're going to need that to lift and refreeze your credit files. Now, if by chance you find that you are a victim of identity theft, the very first thing that you should do is to file a police report. And after you file a police report, you should then file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. At identitytheft.gov, you can obtain a personalized recovery plan. Now, investigator Loretta Hogue will provide you information on some common phone scams.
Good morning, everyone. Imposter scams come in many varieties, but work the same way. A scammer calls or emails you pretending to be someone you trust to convince you to send them money. Stop, check it out before you wire or send money to anyone. Call the person, the government agency, or someone else you trust and get the real story. Then you can decide what to do. No government agency will ever ask you to wire money. During the past 4 years, the FTC logged more than 378,000 reports from veterans, and nearly 161,000 were fraud-related. More than 24,000 of those reported losses of $205 million. For both veterans and active duty personnel, imposter scams were among the top 5 scams causing a loss. Remember, imposters pretend to be someone you trust to try to convince you to send them money. These scammers use all kinds of angles to make their stories sound believable. Scammers are calling people and using the names of 2 companies everyone knows, Apple and Amazon, to rip people off. Here's what you need to know about those calls. In one version of the scam, you get a call and a recorded message that says it's Amazon. The message says there's something wrong with your account. It could be a suspicious purchase, a lost package, or an order they can't fulfill. In another twist on the scam, you get a recorded message that says there's been suspicious activity in your Apple iCloud account. In fact, they say your account may have been breached. In both scenarios, the scammers say you can conveniently press 1 to speak with someone. How nice of them. Or they give you a phone number to call. Don't do either. It's a scam. They're trying to steal your personal information, like your account password or your credit card number. If you get an unexpected call or message about a problem with any of your accounts, hang up. Do not press 1 to speak with customer service. Do not call a phone number they gave you. Do not give out your personal information. If you think there may actually be a problem with one of your accounts, contact the company using a phone number or website that you know is real. As tax season approaches, beware of IRS imposter scams. Scammers posing as IRS agents call claiming you owe taxes. They'll demand that you make a payment to avoid arrest. Callers may even have all or part of your Social Security number. Don't trust your caller ID. It can be faked. Don't be fooled. Remember, the IRS will not call you or send you emails. They won't ask you to pay with a prepaid debit card or wire transfer. They won't ask for a credit card number over the phone. They won't threaten to arrest you. If the IRS wants to contact you, they'll first contact you by mail. If you have any doubts, call the IRS directly. Always be suspicious of any call from a government agency asking for money or information. Government agencies don't use threats, and they don't call you with promises of money or demands for money. Check with the real agency, person, or company. Don't use the phone number they give you. Look it up yourself. Americans lost more than $667 million to imposter scams in 2019. Text messages that show up on your phone are often scams promising free gifts or products. Don't believe it. There are no free gifts. Never click a link or call the number in the text message. Check your account, contact information, and call them directly. In a new scam, the criminal sends a text message to a parent with a picture of their child, which they obtained from the parent's social media account. Next, they send frightening pictures of dismembered bodies. The message comes with a threat that the scammer knows where they live and will kill their family if you don't pay them. If you get a text or call like this, immediately report it to your local law enforcement before doing anything else. Charity fraudsters love to steal from victims who want to help people impacted by natural disasters or pandemics. They tug at people's heartstrings while stealing their money. Most Floridians don't know that all charities who solicit in the state of Florida are required to register and file financial information with the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. You can check a charity by calling the agency or researching the charity at their website. Financial freedom sounds great, unless it's a scam. You might get a call from someone who claims you've won a foreign lottery, but to receive your winnings, you need to submit payment to cover taxes and fees. The caller may ask for your bank information or ask the money to be sent using gift card or by wire transfer. This is again another advance fee scam. In a utility scam, the caller claims to be a representative from the local utility company, stating they never received your last payment and your service is about to be disconnected. If you think there's a chance your bill may have gotten lost, hang up and call your utility provider directly. Overpaid your utility bill? It's probably a scam. You get a robocall saying you paid too much on a utility bill. To make up for this mistake, they say you'll get a cash refund and a discount on your future bills. All you need to do is press a number to get your money and discount. The caller is likely a third-party service provider, claiming you'll save money if you switch to their service. But sometimes these services come with catches that could actually have you paying more on your bill, or even paying two bills at once: your utility companies and the service providers. In the grandparent scam, the alleged grandchild has some emergency scenario and needs money fast. They might need it to make bail, pay for automobile repairs, or even medical expenses. Resist the urge to act immediately. Call your child or grandchild directly to verify whether they are really in trouble or to confirm that this was a scam attempt. The jury duty scam has been around for a long time. Phony deputies call their victims and accuse them of missing jury duty and demand they pay a fine or go to jail. Recently, the Daytona Beach Police Department issued a statement asking for help finding suspects they believe scammed at least three seniors out of thousands of dollars over the last month. Police say they did it by convincing them they were going to jail for missing jury duty. These individuals reached out to the seniors, claiming they were deputies with the Volusia County Sheriff's Office. They called 6 seniors, all over the age of 65. Police said 3 victims met with a woman who claimed to be a bondsman. The victims were instructed to deliver the money in public places. Each victim paid over $3,000. In total, police believe the suspects took $10,200 between the 3 seniors that fell victim to the scam. If you happen to miss jury duty, they'll send you a letter and remind you that you missed it. They will never demand money from you. No one from the criminal justice system will demand money from you on the phone or ask you to meet them in secret locations. In a typical Social Security scam, the victim receives a call telling them that their Social Security number has been suspended for suspicious activity or it's been involved in a crime. The scammer wants you to confirm your Social Security number to reactivate it. Don't do it. Never give out your Social Security number to an unsolicited caller. Scammers also work hard to obtain your Medicare information to commit medical identity theft and insurance fraud. The latest scam is the Medicare enrollment scam. You receive a call or a recorded message from someone who claims to be helping you navigate your Medicare options. They may call themselves a health care benefits advocate or a similar title. The caller says that they can enroll you in a better Medicare program than what you currently have. This new plan is cheaper and you can keep all of the services that you have. To get started, all you need to do is provide some personal information, such as your Medicare ID card number. Of course, the call is a scam, and sharing personal information will open you up to identity theft. In another version, the caller is trying to frighten you rather than assist you. In this case, they claim that your Medicare coverage will be discontinued if you do not re-enroll. The Medicare advisor claims he can fix the situation, of course, if you share your personal information. Always be aware when you're asked to pay by cash, wire transfer, or gift card. Remember also that there are apps out there like Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, Apple Pay, Google Pay, where a payment is made immediately. Once you pay, you may be blocked, making it almost impossible to get your money back. Lastly, beware of COVID-19 scammers. Information on where and how to get COVID-19 vaccine will be available once vaccines are authorized and or being shipped out. While we wait for a timeline and more information, there's no doubt scammers will be scheming. Here's what you need to know to avoid a vaccine-related scam. One, you likely will not need to pay anything out of pocket to get the vaccine during this public health emergency. You can't pay to put your name on a list to get to the vaccine. You can't pay to get early access to the vaccine. No one from a vaccine distribution site or healthcare payer, like a private insurance company, will call you asking for your Social Security number or your credit card or bank account information to sign you up to get the vaccine. Beware of providers offering other products, treatments, or medicines to prevent the virus. Check with your healthcare provider before paying for receiving any COVID-19 related treatment. If you get a call, text, email, or even someone knocking on your door claiming they can get you early access to the vaccine, stop. It's a scam. Debbie will now talk to you about internet safety.
If it's available, you should consider using a two-step verification, which will provide an extra layer of security beyond your username and password. Many online services offer this free security protection. Also, running out-of-date software can put you at risk for security weaknesses, and hackers seek to exploit those. Make sure your computer is set to run updates automatically. Make sure your personal information is encrypted on all your devices. Back up your important files offline on an external hard drive or in the cloud. Also, reusing the same passwords on multiple accounts is one of the most common ways accounts are hacked. Make sure all your devices are password protected. Currently, they say a strong password has now 12 characters, and it should have a mix of letters, numbers, and symbols. This slide contains all of the contact numbers and contact information that's been discussed in our presentation. How to contact our agency if you need to file a complaint against a business, how to contact the Internet Crime Complaint Center or the IC3 if you're a victim of an internet scam, the link to the Federal Trade Commission website to file an identity theft complaint and get your personal recovery plan. Also, there's a new website that the Federal Trade Commission has launched where you can report fraud and scams and bad business practices is on this slide. Also, if you want to check out a charity and how to contact the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. We've also provided the Florida Office of Financial Regulation information if you have investment questions, and the numbers directly to the Internal Revenue Service and the Social Security Office. And last but not least, how to freeze your credit files. This information has been sent to Dan Whitney for distribution. So he will be able to send this out to everyone that's attended today's event. Well, this concludes our presentation today. It's been our pleasure to be with you and to provide you this information. If you have any questions, you can unmute your mic and we'll take a few questions. And you can also, if you can't think of anything now, you can also email Dan directly and he can forward any questions to Loretta and myself and we'll respond to them. Well, we thank you all for joining us today. I don't see any questions coming through. We thank you all very much for being here today with us, and we look forward to maybe bringing another presentation to University Village at some other time.
We have
Thank
one
you.
question. We have one question.
Okay, I can barely hear you, but go ahead.
So they should not use a debit card for paying online at all?
That is correct. Debit cards, remember, the monies are coming directly out of your bank account. Only a credit card has the federal protection. And so a credit card should be used. And the best way, of course, to use credit cards is to pay off the full balance every month, and then you're not paying interest on the monies. But yes, the credit card has the protection that the debit card does not. You should absolutely never use a debit card for an online purchase.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Carol McMillan. I wanted, is there anywhere there's a list of Florida charities in the United States, I guess, that are the best?
Well,
and safest?
I know that when there is, a lot of the charity scams pop up when there's a hurricane or a flood or a fire or a tornado or a tsunami or anytime there's a natural disaster. And I will tell you that the news media will always provide legitimate charities where you can make donations. But the Check a Charity is a great location. And like I said, we've provided that link of how you can check a charity. And the nice part about that, because to operate in the state of Florida, they must be licensed and registered with the state, Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. And you can check sadly, some very, very, very well-known charities. A large portion of the donation actually goes to administrative costs and not to the intended parties that you would
Yes.
be wanting to donate to. And you can find out all of that information by researching that charity at that location.
We have-
So is,
sorry.
is there a website to see where to check the charities? Can you
Yes,
name the
ma'am.
charity you want to check?
Well, if you go to the site, check a charity,
Uh-huh.
on the link that's been provided on this slide, you will be able to put their name in and find out exactly how much of the donations goes to administrative costs and how much goes to the intended cause.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have one more question in the auditorium.
Yes, ma'am.
How many people actually get arrested from those scammers?
Well, that's pretty impossible for Loretta or myself to say, because we're not law enforcement. And, law enforcement really handles those types of investigations, which is why, as far as internet scams are concerned, those complaints go to the IC3, the Internet Crime Complaint Center, which is the FBI. A lot of if we're talking internet crime, a lot of internet crime, sadly, is coming from other countries. And so you have to get the cooperation of another government. And that does happen. But what is sad about internet crime is the fact that when they send out these emails, when they send out these automated emails, text messages, things of that nature, they're going to millions of people. And sometimes you can't find the destination. So, and it's, as you can see, in the millions and billions of dollars. So it's very profitable for these criminals to perpetrate these crimes. So yes, there is law enforcement activity and action, and people are arrested all the time, but it is, I mean, there's not enough law enforcement in all of the world to really get a good control over the amount of this type of victimization. So that's why Loretta and I are here today, because knowledge is really power. And, the Federal Trade Commission and some of these agencies that we've talked about today, they have newsletters and they keep people apprised of current scams and what's going on currently. And it's really important to be educated and to continue your education on different types of frauds, because every single day, these scammers, they might be perpetrating a charity fraud one day. If there's some type of natural disaster, and then they could be perpetrating an investment scheme the next. So, these types of crimes, it's really, really important that we are all aware of these types of crimes and what's new and current. And I will tell you that these criminals also recycle crimes. Once consumers start getting savvy about not sending money through wire transfers or gift cards, they change to the cash apps and things like that to try to get the money. So they're very savvy. They know what they're doing. And so the consumers, yourselves and ourselves, because we're all consumers, we all need to be savvy as well and know about these types of crimes and how they're committed. And you know, the longer you're on the phone or the longer that you're communicating with a professional con artist, the more likely they are to be able to steal your money.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions for us today? Well, again, if you think of anything after today's program, please feel free to send Dan Whitney an email. He can send it over to us. We'll be more than happy to respond to you. And like I said, he has the information on all of the agencies, the contacts, and how to reach them. So he'll be able to distribute that. And it's been our absolute pleasure to be here, and we hope to come back again one of these days.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank
you,
you so
ladies.
much for having us. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye.